Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Conversations with Annassa. So happy to be with you. So let's begin with meditation. Take your attention inside. And let's go directly to our heart center, right in the middle of your chest. And you say the truth of your being into this center in the middle of your heart. I am in perfect union. This is the truth of our being. And feel into that and allow it to expand. And you say it with your breath, allowing yourself to drop into the space between the in-breath and the out-breath, and between the out-breath and the next in-breath. I am in perfect union into that space. And feel for that which is beyond. Love, peace, joy, and gratitude point toward it, but the experience is beyond that. I am in perfect union. And you breathe into it, and in that breath is the asking for that experience, the allowing for that experience. And when you're ready, you begin to expand your awareness of that experience by dropping your attention just below your belly button. And again, I am in perfect union. As you're ready, take your attention to the tip of your tailbone. I am in perfect union. Know you are speaking the truth and feel for the experience of that which is beyond love, peace, joy, and gratitude. Allow your attention to drop underneath the earth. I am in perfect union. We are interdependent with Mother Earth. And as we expand our awareness, we feel that interdependence. We are of the earth. I am in perfect union. As you're ready, bring your attention back up to your heart center. I am in perfect union. Then to your throat center. I am in perfect union. Gently bring your attention to your third eye behind and between your eyebrows in the center of your head. Breathe into that energy center. I am in perfect union. And up to the top of your aura, I am in perfect union. And now for a few minutes, circulate your energy from the top of your aura to under the ground, back to the top of your aura. I am in perfect union. As you completely inhabit your spiritual body. As you bring your attention back into the room, allow yourself to continue to breathe with this awareness. See if you can keep your attention inside and outside at the same time. Welcome. We're so happy to be with you today. So first we want to talk a little bit. In the last few days, Rebecca's been having experience of ecstatic awareness. And we want to talk a bit about the place of those experiences. Because one would think that ecstatic experience and enlightenment might be the same thing. But that's not the truth. The truth is that all experience is welcome, and rejecting none of it is enlightenment. All parts are welcome. The goal is not to stop participating and hold one state as desirable and the rest as expendable. The goal is total participation, total allowing in whatever appears. Which means that we don't reject ourselves when we fall down into despair. That doesn't mean we've failed. It just means we're in despair. And despair is part of the whole. Just as ecstatic experience is part of the whole. Now, there are definitely experiences that we prefer more than others. But because we designed a blueprint that contains everything that we need for our personal growth, what we experience has everything to do with that and very little to do with what we actually want. When we understand that, we can greet our experience, whatever it is, with equanimity. Equanimity means that we don't reject anything. We may be having an experience that's the opposite of what we want to have, but we still greet it with love, because that is the essence of what we are and what we desire to cultivate within ourselves, no matter what. So we just wanted to say that to provide a context, because you too will have ecstatic experience. And in that, there is a sense of exhilaration and arrival, and this is what I've been working for. But that's not really the truth of the experience. And so we just wanted to share that with you, because you'll have that experience. And we don't want you to limit yourself and your own growth by thinking that that is the goal of what we are practicing. So we welcome your questions. Thank you so much for being here. How may we serve this morning? Well, we really want to talk about what interests you. So we need your questions. So, yes.
Good morning. Is there anything you'd like to say about the eclipse?
What we would encourage you to do is to feel into the eclipse energy yourself, to feel into what it is to not have the sun available. And begin to understand that when that sun is available, it provides all of us with an experience that is different from when the sun is available. And to just feel into yourself what that experience is. And you can begin to understand that a lot of our experience that we take as personal And you can finish that sentence any way you want. Or maybe we'll just say a lot of the experience that we take as personal, we have, and then we begin to create a scenario in our own life that justifies the feeling that we're experiencing. And very often, we didn't need to do that. What we're experiencing has nothing to do with the personal. It's just the experience of the wave of frequency that is coming through us in the moment. And then we react to that frequency by looking for something to explain it. And when we understand that that frequency might just be that the sun isn't available in this moment in the way it usually is, then we have just freed ourselves from identifying with a whole spectrum of feeling and creating that story, that castle in the air, that may have nothing to do with why we're feeling what we're feeling. And so this is the beauty of what astrology has to offer and understanding the astrology in the moment. It's that we can absolve ourselves of responsibility for particular feelings in particular moments and particular experiences that we may be attracting because of identifying with those feelings or because of the particular astrological blueprint that we were born under. And this is why knowing about your astrology can be very freeing, because you can come to understand that, oh, I may not be supposed to have a relationship in the next 10 years. It may just not be possible. And you can put your energy somewhere else. And so you're freed of that constriction of, oh, I'm unworthy. Nobody wants me. There's no, you have all these. And that's just one area of our life. Every area of our life is influenced by the stars. And just because we don't understand it and we don't know how to live in harmony with it, because our matrix of belief is that that is not a worthy scientific pursuit in our culture, just because that's the matrix of belief doesn't mean that we aren't just as subject to that as every human being since the beginning of time. So understanding that can really help us to have a much freer life in ourselves, because we're not holding ourselves responsible for things that we have no power over. We think as Americans we can change everything in ourselves and around ourselves. And to some extent, that's true. But the only real power we have is to change ourselves. And to know ourselves is to have the capacity to see what we can change and what we can't. And the way we transcend ourselves is by understanding our experience, by really looking at it. And the truth of enlightenment is that no matter what we see, we do not reject ourselves. And as we look more and more closely internally at who and what we are made of, with that view of love no matter what, then as we develop compassion for ourselves, we automatically have compassion for everybody else, because we see that we're not different. And in that seeing comes the acknowledgement that everyone is worthy of enlightenment. Everyone is worthy of love. Every human being can live in the fifth dimension. It's a, it's a matter of understanding how to balance that love no matter what we experience. That there is nothing inside of us that need be rejected. That doesn't mean we act on every impulse we feel. No, consciousness is really, really important. And conscious awareness has within it the capacity for discrimination. And discrimination is when we take responsibility for what we're experiencing and we decide how best to serve ourselves and everyone else. And then we have within that understanding that our job is to bring out the best in ourselves always and the best in everyone else in every interaction we have. So this is not about purity. There's no such thing as purity. We are all a mix of pure and impure, no matter what our stage of growth. There, and that has everything to do with judgment. And it's not that we distinguish between judgment and discrimination. And the difference between judgment and discrimination is that judgment has an element of rejection. Judgment says this is wrong, whereas discrimination says this is better. And so judgment's like this, and discrimination is like this. There's still room. There's room to understand the truth. Discrimination has an openness to it. That doesn't mean that discrimination is without power or that we're without power. It's just that our real power is inside ourselves using discrimination and always holding self-love as the most important thing, knowing that we can only love another as much as we love ourselves. And that love is the same thing as our connection to our own divinity. And so we are worshiping love itself, really love, peace, joy, and gratitude, which all point to that field which is beyond, which has within it ecstatic awareness, but it also has within it suicidal depression and homicidal rage. None of these things are excluded from the whole, which means that when we experience these things inside ourselves, we don't reject ourselves. We allow that experience to arise and understand the penalty for experiencing ecstasy is the availability of homicidal rage and suicidal rage, which is, they're basically two sides of the same coin. All parts are welcome. And as we expand, we make ourselves available to all of it. None of it is wrong. None of it is exactly right. The capacity to discriminate is our internal awareness doing push-ups. And this is a process of learning. And so it means that discrimination allows us to view with total acceptance a behavior that we didn't anticipate in ourselves and didn't exactly mean. So we may judge the behavior and then discriminate about how we might not do that again. But we do not reject ourselves for having done it, no matter how bad, because none of us are perfect. And perfection, although desirable, is not really what we're striving for, but we're really striving for clarity, for understanding how it is that we can live from this love and apply it to every circumstance that we find ourselves in, and make it bigger and bigger for us and bigger for everyone we interact with. And the fundamental thing is to never reject ourselves, no matter what, but to understand deeper and deeper and deeper what love is, what gratitude is, what peace really is, and to embrace the joy with everything we have and understand that all states are temporary. And not live from reward and punishment, inside or outside. How may we serve further?
So there's a lot of questions that
Oh,
go
good.
back to the first topic when you spoke about ecstatic awareness. Now, Nancy asked if you could speak to us from the place of your ecstatic experience. And other questions asked you to elaborate on what you mean by ecstatic experience, as well as what is meant by perfect union.
We'll say ecstatic experience is unbounded joy. Unbounded joy. It's that feeling that if I died right now, it would be okay because all is complete. It's the feeling that nothing is real but joy. And that you could just float off into that joy and that would be fine.
What is the place of your ecstatic experience? Speak to us from that place.
In that experience, everything is one thing. There is no separation. And perfect union is sort of a joke because there's no such thing as imperfect union. There's either union or not. And of course, that union is perfect. And within that experience, there is such expansive energy. It feels like the whole world is nothing but an explosion of joy. And we'll tell you that this was always an aspiration for Rebecca to have this experience because much of her life was the opposite of this experience. And so she always felt that this would be enlightenment. And so the profound realization that all parts are welcome. And yes, in ecstatic experience, all parts are welcome. But there is a knowing that that joy can and must change the awareness of that joy, that all states are impermanent. So we're going to invite you to just take in this experience yourself energetically as deeply as you can. We're going to take a few moments of silence to let this happen. Okay, we welcome more questions.
I have been having dreams that include persons that have passed. Are there specific lessons coming from them?
Well, the specific lessons would be specific to you. So when we dream of people who have passed, very often it depends. It can be resolving parts of relationship that didn't get to be resolved. on this plane can be about that. It can be simply about calming the fear of death that we all have inculcated it into our cellular belief system, because death is the biggest change that we ever go through. And so, in seeing relatives that we trust who have already passed, there can be some ease of the knowledge that passing as not, um, they're still there, even though they've passed. And so, having that knowledge can make us a little bit less afraid as we approach that moment. And since nobody gets out of here alive, we're all going to approach that moment at some point in our lives. It's part of the cycle of things. And we are part of that life and death cycle. And we experience all kinds of deaths as we are alive. Just as the plants go through the seasons, we do too. And we do in different parts of ourselves. Emotionally, we die many, many times. And a lot of those deaths have ripped us apart to the point where we know compassion just because we have not run from our pain. And we understand as we age and experience that the worst things that happen to us have often been the most powerful motivators for our growth, personally, emotionally, multidimensionally, because we're forced out of our comfort zone and into experience we never would have chosen in that moment for ourselves. And yet it completely causes us to remake ourselves. And so in the final analysis, we end up being grateful for those experiences, maybe even more grateful for those than for the joy that we've experienced in our successes, because we come to realize that the joy of a success, like a promotion at a job or graduation or, all of these things, that these milestones that we've gone through, we realize that kind of joy doesn't last very long. But the human growth from working through the death of someone close is incalculable. What that experience gives to us about understanding what's really important inside of us and in our experience of others, and that love and grief are the same glove, inside out, right side on. They're the same. And that love never dies. And the depth of that knowing cannot be taken away. And so, what looks like the worst experience that a human being can go through, as we weather those experiences and come out finer and finer, it's hard for us to say that that was horrible, because there's so much gift within it, even though the pain so intense we would never wish it on another person. And yet, we've been remade by that pain. And we're reborn finer and finer and finer through these experiences. So we're just acknowledging that. How may we serve further?
Speaking of astrology, what do you think of the so-called, quote, Star of Bethlehem alignment coming up?
Again, we're going to turn this back on you and encourage you to use this experience to feel into what it means when Jupiter's not available in its normal way. So this will happen on the same day as the solstice. So this is the value of astrology, is in feeling within ourselves what it means to have a particular planet less available than usual. So the reason I'm not saying more is because I'm not an astrologer. And this is my approach to learning about how astrology works in our lives. Because if it doesn't really have meaning in your being in a deep way, then it's just information. And we're assaulted with information all day, every day, more than we can handle or incorporate. And so, what we're encouraging you to do is to cultivate a different kind of information within yourselves that is experiential. And in that experiential information, this is where we really, really grow. We can take in all kinds of ideas and measure them in all kinds of ways. But true discrimination comes from this visceral experience of love itself, first of all, and allowing this experience to inform us deeper and deeper about who we are, what we're made of, where our motivations come from, what it is to be energetically aware, and cultivating that awareness so that we can truly lift ourselves into fifth dimensional awareness, that we can cultivate deeper and deeper the feeling of abundance within us that can participate in the abundance that is coming for the whole. And by participating, we are part of this creation of the new awareness that is coming for the entire human collective. And this awareness comes out of choice that says all people are equal. The earth must be respected, supported, and we must behave in a different way and take responsibility for our interdependence with the earth. That our system of rewards and punishments doesn't work. Everything has to become a win-win across the board, win-win-win in every dimension. And until we see life as containing that possibility of outlook, we're in third dimensional reality of reward and punishment. So we really begin to examine our internal experience. When we learn to reject nothing in ourselves, then we stop rejecting everything outside of us. And then we're ready for this expansion into fifth dimensional reality. It's all part of the same understanding. All parts are welcome. Our blueprint, when completely expressed in alignment, will not be in competition with any other blueprint. When we understand we can take that to the bank, then we forget to worry about whether or not we're going to be successful. Because as long as we're in alignment, it's guaranteed. But without this understanding, then we're in a lot of confusion. And in the end, as we learn to reestablish ourselves in this breath and the freedom of this encompassing, experiencing the rainbow body of the breath from the top of our aura into the dirt and out the top of our head again, as we live from this circulation, and continuously free ourselves from any obstruction in that circulation, then this experience, everything that we're talking about is lived through experience that's available. And our presence here in this moment is the demonstration of our intention to bring this experience to you as the foundation of your daily reality. And it truly doesn't matter how much time it takes to begin to participate ever more deeply in this. Because here's the truth. In 2 years, we're all going to be 2 years older, right? There's nothing we can do about that. But we can be 2 years older and 2 years wiser by doing our practice and really intensely turning our attention inward and discovering what it means to expand into that which is beyond love, peace, joy, and gratitude. And understand that nothing, but nothing, is excluded from that experience. And then we can begin to view our own experience with pure honesty, because there's no need to deny anything. Because when we understand that everything is part of us, that we have experienced everything at some point in our many lives, and that, whoever's acting out whatever in front of us could easily be us, then we view that experience as, if I were that person, what would help me? And so we use it to bring out the best in ourselves and the best in everyone we interact with. And we use the feedback that happens. And sometimes we get it 100% right, but most of the time we're, a little bit short of that. So we use the feedback to learn and grow. And at no point do we reject ourselves. We may react with great surprise and humility to what we discover that we just did, that, had results that were less than what was intended. And we learn, but we don't reject ourselves. We just say, that was a kindergarten move. And it's okay. because we get to be in kindergarten in the parts of ourselves that we haven't mastered yet. That's allowed. It's really allowed. All parts are welcome. And so we can be embarrassed, we can be totally humiliated, but we don't reject ourselves because we made a mistake. Because it is in that self-rejection that we shut down to love. And when we do that, then we've lost our access to everything that's real. How may we serve further?
Exactly 11 o'clock.
We're so happy to be here with you. We love this. So the joy that we feel in this moment is completely available to you. You are welcome to participate. Yeah, just drink it in.
How can we support the earth and the natural world right now?
Your intention for alignment is a felt experience by the earth. So in cultivating that alignment, you are cultivating your awareness of what is best for Mother Earth. Understand that Mother Earth is also sentient. And that in this participation, you are expressing your willingness to participate in the recalibration of what it means to live with love and respect for Mother Earth. And so it is our attention, our willingness to put our attention in this plane of our existence that begins to cultivate a change in the reality around us, in the behavior of those who are doing the raping and pillaging. In aligning our awareness with the highest possibility for Mother Earth herself, we are cultivating the change that must take place for the reorganization of the human collective priorities. So understand that manifestation follows attention and intention. And that our attention and intention is as valuable as currency, that we can see it as a different kind of currency that contributes to the change that we desire to manifest. And that although we may not have money to contribute to the event, that our attention and intention and awareness are the three things that have great power to create change. And as we sit and acknowledge our interdependence with Mother Earth, every time we meditate, we are contributing to the rebalancing in the human collective of the value of Mother Earth herself and the desirability of changing this relationship so that we are serving Mother Earth rather than taking her for granted and exploiting her. And then, as we become more harmonious in this relationship ourselves, that is transmitted through all the relationships we have with others. And they begin to participate in this awareness of unity with Mother Earth, this awareness of interdependence in the same way we do. This is how the world changes. It's through our attention and our intention that we change our own behavior. And as we do that, everybody around us begins to function in the same kind of awareness and alignment, even though we don't say a word. But how we live our values has a lot of power. And the first thing that we don't understand as a culture is that where we put our attention is the most powerful thing we have control over. Where we put our attention and our intention is what grows in us. So this is the role of discrimination, is to decide where we're going to put our attention and intention. And we'll tell you the most powerful thing you can do is to cultivate union with source energy itself. Because when you are in perfect union with source energy, you are in perfect union with the intention and attention of the whole. And as you cultivate that, you are cultivating a relationship with the magic, the mysterious, and the miraculous within yourself. And it's all about understanding that and the source of that and living in union with that. How amazing that this is available to human beings. And no wonder that our institutions don't want us to cultivate it, because it means everything has to change. So understand that this transcends any institutional or educational or religious training that any of us have been given, because this is truly going all the way outside the box. But fifth dimensional awareness, fifth dimensional experience is outside the box of third dimensional experience. So we are truly transcending any awareness we have ever had before as we move toward total abundance in every realm and allow ourselves to become that awareness, that hugeness of change. How wonderful. And the fact that we can't comprehend it that we feel totally confused when confronted by the idea of it, it's fine. It's absolutely necessary because it's the stage of awe and wonder that will allow this to actually present itself in front of us. And the best way, the easiest way to participate is to bring your attention to the unseen inside you every day. And it's our devotion to that, to cultivating that experience inside ourselves, that will inform us about everything that we need to know from the inside out so that we can fully participate as leaders into this field of abundance and the change throughout the human collective that we get to participate in this time of being on the earth. So let's meditate. We can't believe that time went by that fast. So we're going to begin where we ended at the beginning in our meditation, and that is with the circulation of the energy from the top of the aura into the dirt, into Mother Earth, and back up to the top of the aura. And you can use breath and mantra in whatever way is comfortable for you. I am in perfect union. And we will make ourselves as available as possible as we meditate. Thank you so much. We have enjoyed being with you. Mm. What a great gift and honor to be in your presence. Thank you so much for coming. We bow to you.